Let's just check what the date is for April 10th, 2018. Just a reminder, please make sure all your cell phones are off. And if you feel that you need to have a conversation, please take it outside of the room. In conformance with the open meeting law, this is to inform you that this meeting is being live streamed. I see that there are a number of new faces here. So we are here to get information, new information from people who are here to speak either in support or in opposition. So when it's your turn at the mic, please give us new information. If somebody has already stated your concern, just put your name and address on the record. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first order of business is the extension for 9:30, calling BOA 558-788, 1012 to 1016 Bennington Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Drago with an address of 15 Broad Street with Drago and Toscano. We're seeking a one-year extension. My client was approved 2 years ago for 6 units above a store and restaurant. He's been working to get bank financing. He does have that lined up now, so that construction should be starting shortly.
Okay, so this is a request for how long?
1 year if possible.
May I have a motion?
Motion is deferred 1 year.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Calling the next case for G-Card, calling BOA 802-088, 16 to 22 Haviland Street. This is a change of occupancy of 52 apartments and accessory services, a management office, community room, and fitness center. Common area and accessibility renovations at the Burbank Apartments building. Work will include the demolition of a below street level former Fenway Health tenant space, laundry room and apartment maintenance office, shop, new construction of a lower level space of new management office, tenant community room, fitness center, bike storage, and laundry room. A new building entrance, an awning and an interior handicap ramp, new elevator shaft, and mechanicals. The violations, Article 32, Section 4, G-Card applicability. Name and address for the record, please.
Madam Chair, my name is Attorney Eugene Kelly, 223 Commonwealth Avenue, Boston. We're here for G-Card. We have our Boston Water and Sewer letter. We also have a letter from the engineer indicating with his stamp that we're not going below grade level 7. So I think we're all lined up.
Christian?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Christian Simonelli, Groundwater Trust. We do have both the BWSC approval letter and the stamped no harm letter from the engineer as well.
And we also have the letter as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's very efficient. May I have a motion, please?
To approve.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Go on to the 9:30 hearings. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals for 9:30? Address, please, or call it in for the record.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. 78 Tyler Street.
For the record, calling BOA 796-981, 78 Tyler Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Attorney Nick Zazula, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller, 28 State Street, Suite 802 in Boston. Madam Chair, members of the board, we're still working with the community on this. This would be the first deferral. We're still in discussions with various groups in the community and would like some more time to talk with them about the proposal.
How long do you think you need?
Whatever the next deferral date is, several months.
Well, we're into May, so, I'm sorry, we're into June.
June would be sufficient.
Okay. May I have a
Motion for
please?
deferral.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The date, please. 1 minute.
The date is June 12th at 11.
12th?
Yeah.
Okay.
11:30.
Just to let you know that when the applicant asks for a deferral, we generally allow that so that there is a community process and that there is a full and robust process that we can then talk about. Okay? So we will see you on June 12th at 11:30 right here. Okay? Thank you.
We have 700 applications.
Okay. So you can either submit it now or hold it until June 12th. Okay? Thank you.
While we're doing that, I'm going to call, are there any other deferrals or withdrawals? Address, Counsel?
9 Cook Street Court, Charlestown.
I'm sorry, say the address again.
9 Cook Street Court, Charlestown, BOA 802-872.
Okay, yep. For the record, calling BOA 802-872, 9 Cook Street Court. Name and address for the
My
record.
name is Paula Dever. I'm attorney at Rubin and Rudman, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant, and we're requesting a deferral to work out neighbor and abutter concerns.
And this is really to confirm the occupancy as a single-family dwelling.
Yeah, and there's some issues with how the building is getting rebuilt, so we want to work with the community on that.
Okay, may I have a
Motion for deferral?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You also have a date of June 12th at 11:30.
Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 11:30? No other deferrals or withdrawals for 11:30? I'm sorry, 9:30, not 11:30. Getting ahead of myself here. All right, so we're going to call the first case, calling BOA 794-791, 1225 Bennington Street. This is to demolish the existing structure and erect a 4-story building with 6 residential units and 2 parking spaces. The violation is Article 53, Section 9, insufficient additional lot area per unit. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 53, number of allowed stories has been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, maximum allowed height is exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient front yard lot line setback. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient side yard lot line setback. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient rear yard lot line setback. Article 53, Section 54, screening and buffering, none is proposed. Article 53, Section 56, insufficient parking. Article 53, Section 8, the MFR is forbidden within a 2-family sub-district. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Drago with Drago and Toscano, with an address of 15 Broad Street, attorney for the applicant, Joe Ruggiero. And I also have James Christopher from RCA as the architects on the project. As mentioned, we're seeking zoning relief for a project at 1225 Bennington Street to take down an existing and outdated single-family and erect a 4-story residential building with 6 condominium units and 2 parking spaces on site in the rear. This particular lot size is 5,032 square feet. The lot is deep. It's 100 feet deep, 50 feet wide, and we will still remain a 25-foot, 9-inch setback. One note to point out, we are directly across from Suffolk Downs train station, so there is great commuter access by T. Also along this area, there's a Belle Isle Marsh Sanctuary, so there's no building or housing on that side, so there's plenty of on-street parking in that area. Just to go over the unit layouts, Unit 1 is a 2-bed, 2-bath, 980 square feet. Unit 2 is 977 square foot, 2-bed, 2-bath. Unit 3 and 4 are roughly 1,010 square feet, 2-bed, 2-bath, all with rear decks. And then the 3rd and 4th floor are going to be the owner's units. There's two of them, local family. They're going to live in the building themselves. Those would be 3-bed with 2.5 bath with top floor private roof decks, exclusive roof decks. We did get the full support of the Orient Heights Civic Association as well as support of a butters meeting. Just to go over a few of the violations, we do trigger FAR. 0.6 is allowed, or at 1.72.
Your point what, 172?
1.72 is what we're at. Height in stories is 2.5 at 35. We're at 4 stories and 39 feet. Side yards 10. We're at 3'6" and 10 on the right. Front yards 15. We're at 5. But I just want to point out we will now be matching the other houses in that block. If you look at where that house is set now, it's kind of offset. Correct, exactly. In our rear yard, allowable is 40. We're at 25 feet, 9 inches. Parking required would be 9. We have 2, but we are directly across from the T station, as was mentioned. I can pause now for any questions from the board.
So this is going from a single to a 6 with 2 parking. Okay. How are
Correct.
the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Tell us what's happening on the roof again?
There's 2 exclusive roof decks on the top floor where the another additional space for the 3rd and 4th floor unit are like a duplex unit. So it'd be 2 exclusive only roof decks for the owners.
Counselor, could you just go over the square footage for the units again? I just missed it. I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Yep. The first floor is 980 square feet and 977. That's units 1 and 2. 3 and 4 are roughly 1,012 square feet. And then the top floor units, the third floor of them is roughly 1,066, and then another 500 square feet on the top floor that would add to that unit, so 1,600 square feet.
There's 2 units at 1,600, 2 units at 1,012.
Correct. Those are the owner's units, yeah. And they're all condo.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jesus Garcia with the Mayor's Office on Neighborhood Services. We would like to be speak in support of this project. During the various meeting, there were no major concerns about the proposal, and also the association Orange Heights both in support for this project. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Lydia Edwards, City Councilor for this area, and I just wanted to say I fully support this project. I saw that it was fully vetted by the community at the Orient Heights Neighborhood Association, and they had no opposition, so I stand with them.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPDA design review. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Calling BOA 800-370-187 London Street. This is a change obviously from a 3-family dwelling to a 4-family dwelling. Erect a 4th-story addition and rear addition with new egress stairs and decks. Also to renovate the building and extend living space into the basement. Violations, Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking and loading requirement, insufficient parking. Article 53, Section 8. The MFR is forbidden in a 3-family subdistrict. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient usable open space. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient side yard setback. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient additional lot area. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9, the max number of allowed stories has been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, the maximum allowed height has been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient side yard setback. Article 53, Section 54, screening and buffering, none is proposed. Article 53, Section 22, roof structure restrictions, a reconfiguration of the existing roof and profile. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Drago with Drago and Toscano, an address of 15 Broad Street, attorney for the applicant, who's here with me, Julia Sokol, and I have Treya from Joy Street Design as the architects on the project. As mentioned, we are here seeking zoning relief to change the occupancy from a 3-family residential, which is existing, to 4-family with an additional unit on top. It would also include a complete gut renovation of the project, bringing that fully up to sprinkler and code. It also includes an addition in the rear of the property as well. Just a point of reference, I just wanted to point out some of the pictures. This particular building has been on the city's problem property task force for years. It's been uninhabitable. There's actually a hole in the back. The elements have gotten to the building. It's completely compromised. My client is intending to create 4 condominium units and a really extensive renovation as part of that. We have worked over a period of 3 abutters meetings with the direct abutters, and I want to point out that you may hear some opposition, but we do have the support of both of our abutters on either the left and the right-hand side. The units that we're creating, Unit 1 is a 1,130 square foot 2-bed, 2-bath unit. Unit 2, 770 square feet. Unit 3, 715 square feet. And then the proposed new unit at 615 square feet. And that would be a 1-bed, 1-bath. The current units in that building are really not manageable. They're at 440 square feet, 430 square feet. We have a large setback in the rear, and even with that addition, we still have 51.5 square foot setback. Just to go over some of the project modifications on this. So when we started, we were originally looking to have a 7-unit building back in the rear all the way out 30 feet. We've cut back the size of the addition from 30 to 20. We now have a rear setback of 51.4. We directly align, which we were asked from the abutters, to align with the other buildings on that block. There's actually, I have a slide, one of the drawings in the back show that we're actually shorter or equal to the size of the buildings in the rear with the rear setbacks. Each unit has also been reduced between 55 and 70 square feet from when we started. And Unit 4, the top floor unit, has a 5-foot pullback in the front and a 13-foot rear pullback in the back. We also created decks on that top floor as well. And I can go over some of the violations now.
Please, first tell us about that extension into the basement. What's the floor-to-ceiling height there?
I believe it's 7 foot 8.
I believe there'll be some excavation required to achieve 7.5 feet.
Okay, so please, yes, go through for the violations.
For use, it's a 3F district. We're seeking 4 units, so that's a violation. Lot area for additional units is 1,000. We're at 500. FAR is 1.0. We're at 1.6. Height is 3-story, 35 feet. We're at 4 and 42. And our parking, although we do not provide any, there are 2 municipal parking lots right on that block, which is unique to find.
And tell us about the side yard setback.
We actually meet the side yard setback, so it's 2.5 on each side, which is what's required.
Okay, so you on both sides, okay? Let's see, usable open space. Tell us about the roof structure restrictions. That's the roof deck?
Yes.
And who will that be accessible to?
It's exclusive only to the top floor.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question on the plans. I'm just a little confused. On the first floor plan, in the front right, there's a space marked out for the...
That's intended to be a double-height space.
Oh, so the living room from below?
Correct.
It's like an atrium?
Correct.
Oh. Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here?
Just real quickly, Counsel, the height of the addition on the roof there, what is that next to the other houses that are compared to it?
So we'd be at 42. We are one of the lowest houses as existing on that block. So we'd probably, there's some houses that are about 37 foot, 38. We would be higher, but there is a building diagonal within 200 square feet that's a 4-story that was approved.
Right across the street?
Right in the back on Harv Street. So that was approved maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Because we're looking at what you've submitted, and we're looking on
Google Maps.
And it looks like the structures are predominantly 3 stories, straight 3 stories.
On London, they are.
Yeah.
On Harv, which is our rear street, and on Bennington, which is on the other side, they are 4.
But this is facing London.
Correct.
Has a street address in London.
Correct.
Okay. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Jesus Garcia with the Mayor's Office on Neighborhood Services. About this project, we host 3 abutters meetings. We start in September. Initially, the proposal changed from 7 units to 4 units. And the concerns from the abutters, they express to be worried about the height of the building, also about the traffic. And however, due to the conditions of the current conditions of the building, we believe that the rehab on this building is a good thing. So we would like to speak in support for this project. Thank you.
So correct me, there was no concern of the height of the
Yes.
addition? Okay.
Concerns about the height.
Thank you.
Is anybody else here to speak in support? Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Good morning again, Madam Chair. I just wanted to give a little context as well, is that not only am I speaking today as a city councilor, but as a direct abutter to this project. And there were 3 abutters meetings, and as a result of those meetings, and I can submit to the record, there's 17 people who oppose this height. They oppose the going up to the 4th unit, especially in an area that's zoned for 3 families, particularly concerned about the precedent that it will set, and that there is no real need except for the fact that there's a desire to make the numbers work. But there's no actual need for this area or for this building to go up to 3 families. I acknowledge the condition, I see it every day, of the problem property that we have, but we think that we offered solutions such as using the current program, the ADU program. It's a pilot program in East Boston that allows you to build into your basement and create another unit. That would have given the 4 units and allowed for a balanced approach of keeping the character of the neighborhood, but also being able to build down below. Since this is a gut job anyway, you're going to have to put in the sprinkler system and all those other things as well. Again, I have the letters, and I don't know, I heard my counselor, the council speak, that there was 2 letters of support on either side. I have a signed signature from one side, 189 London Street, in opposition to this. So I was at the abutters meetings. I've heard directly from the abutters. I have not heard anyone support this project, and we all stand together quite firmly against it. And as a result of this project and another project also trying to raise the height, we ended up forming a new neighborhood association. We are so in opposition to this. So I really hope that you consider the concerns of the neighborhood, and the actual standards for the variance is not about the profits to be made. It's about the need to actually build within the code. And we found that there was an option. It was not taken, and we really hope that you stand with the neighborhood and oppose this.
Thank you.
And I can submit that letter and the signatures for the record if you'd like.
Yes, that would be helpful. Thank you. Is anybody else here to speak in opposition? Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve with continued BPDA design review.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
I vote with the motion, so it's approved with design review.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 806-606, 106 to 108 Maverick Street. Maverick Street here? Okay. This is to change occupancy from 4 apartments above and offices to 4 apartments above and office and retail on the first floor. This is to add partition wall on the first floor. The violations, Article 9, Section 2, the change in a mixed-use building in the 3F sub-district. Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking and loading, none is proposed for this new use. And Article 53, Section 8, the retail is forbidden in the 3F sub-district. Name and address for the record, please.
Michael Welsh, 169 Corey Street, West Roxbury. I'm representing the owner, East Boston Management and Development, LLC.
Can you tell us what you're proposing?
So it's an existing building that my client just did a full renovation of, and there's 4 apartments above, and the first floor was one space that was used for all offices previously, and we just want to just basically subdivide the space in half so that it can be part offices and part retail, so that because he was trying to find a tenant for that first floor space, and it was tough to find offices for that, and they had some retail interest.
So tell us about the square footage. First, tell us the zoning district this is in.
It's 3F 2000.
Okay. And tell us the square footage of the current offices.
We're not changing any square footage, so I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. It's about 1,500 square feet.
Okay. And then after this proposal, what's going to be the size of the retail space?
Yeah, it's about 750 each, so it's
Sorry?
about 750 square feet on each side. It's pretty much right down the middle, just putting a wall down the middle.
Okay. And what's the anticipated use? What is the anticipated retail use?
The tenant that we had in mind was, I think it was a Singular Wireless, had expressed interest, so a wireless phone store.
And are there other commercial uses on this part of Maverick?
Yes, there are other commercial uses in the.
On the first floor?
Yep, on the first floor, in this intersection, and on Maverick Street and nearby.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jesus Garcia with the Office of Neighborhood Services. We have an abutters meeting for this project, and we didn't receive any opposition for the proposal. Therefore, we'd like to speak in support for this project. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan. On behalf of Council at Large Michael Flaherty, Council due on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with continued BP, no, we don't need, we don't
I
need design.
think we might need for signage if it's going to be a carrier.
When they come in, we'll go through the permitting process for any signage and,
So just a straight approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
thank you.
Calling BOA 802-782, 36 Monmouth Street. This is the change order from a two-family dwelling to a three-family dwelling. No work to be done. The violations, Article 53, Section 8. A three-family is a forbidden use. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient usable open space per dwelling unit. And Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking and loading requirements, insufficient parking for the proposed additional unit. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Drago with Drago and Toscano with an address of 15 Broad Street. I have with me the applicant, Josh Fetterman from City Realty. And we're seeking to change the occupancy from an existing two-family dwelling to a three-family dwelling. The unit in question is already existing. The lot size, building has been assessed and taxed both as a three-family since 1985. As mentioned, all three floors are existing. Unit 1 is a two-bedroom, one-bath at 1,059 square feet. Unit 2, the second floor unit is a two-bed, one-bath at 1,000 square feet. And Unit 3 is 958 square feet, two-bed, two-bath. We did, like I'd mentioned, everything's existing, so there's going to be some minor renovations. It's already occupied with tenants in the building. This was approved by the Eagle Hill Civic Association, as well as a positive abutters meeting as well.
Is there basement use?
There is not, I mean, as part of the unit?
Part of the unit?
No,
No?
there's not.
It's storage, right?
Yeah,
And there's second means of egress?
correct, in the
There
back.
is.
There is.
Counselor, just a quick question.
Yep.
Are they three beds or are they two beds, sir?
They're all two-bed units, two-bed, one-bath.
So the plan I'm looking at is existing floor plan, they're three bedrooms now?
Is the first floor indicated?
So it's really it's too small, I believe, for a bedroom. It's like
Okay.
an office space. They labeled it as that, but it's not used as a bedroom, would not be used as a bedroom, so.
And this has been actually inhabited as a three-unit for how long?
I mean, it's been taxed, assessed, and used since the 80s. They've recently bought it in the last year and a half, so it's been that way as well. So everything's rented and there's tenants in the building. So, and everyone at the abutters meeting identified it as a three, and we're surprised to see that it was.
There's no exterior work at all?
Over time, there will be.
But it's, you're not doing an addition?
No, oh, no, nothing. So the building's staying, the contours of the building remain exactly the same.
So there's not going to be any rehab, this is just for the legalization?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Any questions? How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Jesus Garcia with the Office of Neighborhood Services. We are in support of this project. Also, the Civic Association Eagle Hill, they both in support for this proposal. Thank you.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
To approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 775-545-512 to 514 Saratoga Street. This is a change of occupancy from a beauty salon to two-family dwelling with one retail. This will legalize the existing conditions and no work to be done. The violations, Article 53, Section 56. Off-street parking requirements is insufficient. Article 53, Section 11. Two-family residential use is a forbidden use. Article 53, Section 12, usable open space is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
James Cavallari, 512, 514 Saratoga Street, East Boston.
So tell us what's being proposed.
Just to change the occupancy from 3 commercial units to 2 residential. and one commercial.
Okay. So you're changing the beauty salon to a retail?
Yes,
Okay, and how large is that space?
851 square feet.
Okay. And, let's see, and how large are the dwellings above?
851 square feet.
Each unit is 850 square feet, okay? And are there other businesses like this on the street? On this side of Saratoga?
I think there are, yes.
There are, Madam Chair. I'm looking at it right now.
You're looking at
Yep.
it? Okay, how are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Pardon me?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Jesus Garcia with the Mayors of Neighborhood Services. We would like to be in record in support for this project. Also, the Civic Association will here in support for the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Julia City Councilor Olivia Edwards, council wishes to go on record.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 798-584, 228 Webster Street. Counsel, you moving forward on this? No. Okay. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lynch, 245 Summit Street.
You're going to defer?
Deferral, asking for a quick deferral, however, based upon conversation with the ONS.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I don't have to call anything into the record. Okay.
Sorry about that.
May I have a motion, please?
Okay.
Oh, and so why do you need the deferral?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have done an exhaustive community process with respect to this, including at butters meetings and several meetings with Jeffries Point Neighborhood Association. The vote before the association was relatively close. The Office of Neighborhood Services wanted a bit more time to review this and asked us to consider a short deferral to May 8th if possible. We are on somewhat of a timeline, so we'd like to hopefully get the shortest deferral if possible.
Motion to defer.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We are very tight for May 8th, but we will try to fit you in.
Thank you. I'll go last if that's necessary.
May 8th.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
See you then.
And that'd be at 11:30. Calling the next case, BOA 798-376, 5 Hill Street. This Hill Street here, okay. This is a renovate kitchen, install new interior finishes, construct dormers on the front and rear of the 3rd floor, and construct a new bathroom, a lower slab elevation of basement and finished basement, and all new mechanicals. The violation is Article 62, Section 25, roof structure restrictions. Article 62, Section 8, insufficient rear yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Camille Kaluski, 5 Hill Street, Charlestown.
My name is Timothy Burke. I'm the architect for the project. My work address is 142 Berkeley Street in Boston.
Tell us what's being proposed.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. I've been working with my clients who recently purchased a single-family house. It's the end row of a row of houses in Charlestown. It's in bad repair, so we're looking to renovate the house. As part of the work to create some more livable space on the 3rd floor, we're proposing a dormer on the front and the back. And that's what's triggering the zoning roof restriction. The height of the ridge is still only 32 feet, which is below the maximum.
But it's the additional floor.
It's an existing finished space now, but we're adding dormers to it.
And how large are what's the square footage of the dormers?
The dormers are going to be approximately 175 square foot each.
So that's about...
Each floor plate is 588 square feet.
Okay. Okay, how are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Hello, Madam Chair, members of the board. Chris Breen from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We will speak in support. We hosted a meeting on February 20th. About 6 residents showed up, and everyone was widely supportive.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Julia City Councilor Olivia Edwards, wishes to go on record in support.
Thank you.
Morning,
Madam Chairman. My name's Stan Leonard. I am the rear abutter to this property, and I've gone over the plans at meetings on several occasions, and I'm in favor of the project.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion?
Madam
please?
Chair, before I go for, Counselor, is it 5 Hill Street or 51?
5.
It's 5, okay. Doesn't come up on the GPS, the MapQuest. Okay, thank you.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval with BBDA design.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Very much.
Calling BOA 788-239, 20 Dwight Street. This is to build a head house in place of an existing bubble hatch to gain access to an existing roof deck. The violations, Article 64, Section 34, roof structure, restricted roof structure regulations, and this is also to note this is a historic approval is required as well. Name and address for the record, please.
Name is Brian Roberts. The address is 20 Dwight Street. We propose to build the head house and place existing bubble hatch for safe access to existing roof deck. Boston Landmark Commission came out and exempted us because it is you can't see it from the surrounding streets, and it's below the direct butters roof lines. By granting this project would allow safer access to existing roof deck and enhance the owner's quality of life. It's a private access too, so it's only through our owners. The size of the structure is less than 10% of the whole roof area. This will consist of architectural characteristics of the immediate neighborhood. On February 22nd, our butters meeting, we had no oppositions. We have in our file, there's also 90-plus neighbors provided signatures support. And then we also received vote of no opposition from the officers of the 8th Street Neighborhood Association.
I do have a question. So Landmarks is in favor of a head house?
So they said that because we actually have a letter, I believe it's in the packet. Because they can't see it, they basically said that they exempted it because they can't see it from the street.
And have you checked out any other options besides the head house?
They already have a bubble hatch because of the existing bubble hatch and unsafe of not consistent handrails. The access to it is just awkward, and between with the snow and the winter, it's very unsafe. The situation. So
there is a slope. You're aware there is a slope bubble hatch with hydraulic.
It's existing right now. That's what we have right now. We have a hydraulic bubble hatch.
But is it flat or sloped?
What's up?
Is it flat or sloped?
No, it's sloped. It's angled up to like 32 inches as what code allows us to exist.
Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. On behalf of Faisal Sharif, we'd like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Steve Moore, City Councilor at Flynn's office, we'd like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
I want to make a motion to approve, and this is actually the first head house that we've actually approved the Southland. And the reason for it is that the usual opposition to the head house is from Landmarks. Because they, in fact, favor all of this. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 805-934, 3 Snelling Place. There is also building code, BOA 805-933, 3 Snelling Place. This is to confirm occupancy as a 3-family dwelling, construct a 4th floor addition and roof decks, and extend living space to the basement for Unit 1. The violations, Article 54, Section 18, roof structure restrictions, the lower roof deck below the allowed main roof, Article 54, Section 9, excessive FAR, 3.0 is the max. Article 54, Section 9, insufficient open space. Article 54, Section 9, insufficient rear yard setback, 10 feet is the minimum. This is for the building code, Section 8, 780 CMR 1009.131, the roof access, head house requirements for occupied roof on decks on the 4th floor. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Attorney Ryan Gosda from McDermott, Quilty & Miller, address 28 State Street, Suite 802, Boston, Massachusetts.
So please, can you address the building code issue first?
Sure, absolutely. The code requires that a head house goes up to a roof deck, which is what we're proposing, but that's actually in conflict with the North End Article 54, which requires a roof hatch. So we'll be zoning compliant putting in the roof hatch, but we won't be putting in the head house. We believe it will minimize the impact of the proposed roof deck as well as the 4th floor addition, so that's what we're opting to install.
Okay, so in other words, you do not need the relief.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So you do not need the relief.
We do not no, we will be going not for zoning relief for the hatch, but for the head house relief we will need from the building code.
You need building code
Correct.
relief on this, okay? May I have a motion, please?
A motion
To grant the relief?
grant the relief.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now please speak to the merits of this appeal.
Sure, absolutely. The parcel has been in the applicant's family for generations, and it's an existing 3-story building that's on a small 630 square foot lot. Currently, there is no residential use in the basement unit. There is 1 unit on each of the above floors, 1 through 3. And what the owner is proposing to do is to renovate and modernize the property by extending living space in Unit 1 down into the lower level to create a duplex. 2nd floor will remain as is, and then also adding a partial 4th floor addition, which will be set back from the existing roof line, putting a private deck in that setback area as well as a roof deck on top. So the end result will be, it will remain as 3 units. Unit 1 being the basement and 1st floor duplex, which will be 860 square feet. Unit 2 will be the existing 2nd floor, which will remain as 460 square feet. And the 3rd unit will be the 3rd floor and the 4th floor partial addition, which will be 900 square feet. As to violations, the first, which is excessive floor area ratio, the limit is 3. We'll be having 3.7 for living space and 4.5, which takes into account staircases and other areas like that. Second, which is open space. Currently, as it stands now, there's no open space. With the roof deck addition, there will actually be 70 square feet added on the small patio on the 4th floor and 200 square feet on the private roof deck on top. Third violation is insufficient rear yard. Again, currently the building doesn't have any rear yard at all. It goes up to the property line. The 4th floor addition will be set back 9 feet from the current building edge. The minimum is 10 feet, so it will be set back 9 feet. And the last zoning violation is with respect to roof structure restriction. Simply adding on the 4th floor restriction requires conditional use permit here. We maintain that it is not in interference with any of the surrounding buildings. The other buildings are largely 4 stories, 5-story residential buildings. There's an apartment building, which I believe is 5 stories right behind it.
And this is also triggered by the roof deck.
Yes.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Maria Lanza, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. We held an abutters meeting for this project on December 11th of last year. They also have the support of the North End Waterfront Neighborhood Council as well as the North End Waterfront Residents Association. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I'm representing Councilor Sabi George's office. She would like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Morning. My name is Kristen Koch, 186 Salem Street. So I'm the neighbor that's directly behind the building, and we haven't been notified of any of the plans, or this was the first time that I've been noticed. So my living space, my outdoor living space, is within 5 feet of that building. So I have concerns about what it's going to do to my living space out back. I have a very big patio that oversees that, and with the construction, and I have big concerns about that building going up.
So does your property also pretty much go to the property line?
It does.
It does, so it's,
As well as there's, the basement. The basement is right there where the door would egress out, and it had been rotted out, and we had to contact them to put a new door in. So they haven't even, put any thought into the back or anything to help the neighbors in that area.
and you live in the unit?
I do.
Okay. Sounds like you still have some work to do.
I do. This is the first I've,
Yeah, okay.
getting this appeals notice, so I plan to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Your name and address, sir?
John Rivabella, 190 Salem Street, Boston. My family owns 4 Snelling Place. I'm not against them going up.
Yeah?
I just want to make sure that on my building, that there's no windows in case we want to go up in the future. Okay?
Thank you. Are there windows on that side of the building?
I don't believe there are. I'll have to reference the
I
plan.
don't think there would be, because that would trigger another building
I
code
don't believe there
violation.
And just, if I could briefly address the first comment with respect
Which
to...
side are we looking at, talking about?
This would be the rear, I believe, facing...
For Snelling.
Snelling.
Sir, there's 3 abut 4. Are you beside them or across the street? Okay.
Yeah, I don't see any windows.
No windows. Okay. As you address first,
Yeah, briefly. With respect to notice, we flyered the neighborhood back in November and December. We've had 4 neighborhood meetings. As the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services addressed, we had an abutters meeting. No one came out in opposition. There's been opportunities with the zoning subcommittee of the North End Waterfront Residents Association, as well as the open meetings for both the Residents Association and the Neighborhood Council. So we have given notice to the neighborhood, so that's just briefly with respect to that. In terms of the back lower door that she was speaking of, everything will be modernized and brought up to date. I believe there's a 3 or 4 foot passageway between the 2 buildings back there, so that's not going to change. If anything, it will be brought up to code and more modernized back there. I'm not sure if she's higher up with respect to the addition, but again, there will be a 9-foot setback, so if she has a patio up there, it won't be abutting it directly.
so you'll just make sure you reach out to her so that everything is coordinated. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set with the request that you reach out to the neighbor.
Thank you.
Okay?
Calling BOA 770-654-1271 to 1275 Boylston Street. This is a continual long-standing use in premises for paid public parking for approximately 80 vehicles, ancillary parking, and parking accessory to a restaurant use. Violations Article 6, Section 3A, additional condition in restricted parking district. Article 66, Section 14, parking lot is a forbidden use. And Article 66, Section 14, ancillary parking is a conditional use. Name and address for the record, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, my name is Brian Judge with the law firm of Coulston & Storrs. I'm joined by Mike Fitzpatrick with Samuels & Associates. It's an affiliate of Samuels & Associates that's the applicant here. The property is the Verb Hotel, located at 1271 Boylston Street. Current uses of the property are obviously a hotel. There's also a restaurant there, and then accessory parking and public paid parking up to 80 vehicles for larger events. This property is located directly next to Fenway Park. Obviously during events at Fenway Park, for example, there's some paid parking here. The underlying zoning is the North Boylston Street NS2 subdistrict. It's also located within the restricted parking overlay district. So we're here asking for a continuation of existing zoning relief that's been granted at least back to 2002, most recently in 2015. It's 2 conditional use permits and a variance. One conditional use permit is in connection with the restaurant accessory parking. because that's a conditional use in the restricted parking overlay district. The other two are related to the public paid parking, one being a conditional use permit for ancillary parking, and the other being a variance for the parking lot use for public paid parking. Our appeal had requested that no sunset be attached to the zoning relief as it had been in the past, given the recent restoration of the property and the need for the public parking, most notably because of its location directly next to Fenway Park. Having said that, after additional conversations with community members and representatives, we had agreed to do to request a 5-year sunset in lieu of the 2 years that have been previously granted.
So tell us, let's backtrack. How many spaces are dedicated to the restaurant use? So this is an 80 space lot, right?
That's correct.
So how many are dedicated to the restaurant?
So there's we do have a valet on board operating the lot, so the break between the hotel and the restaurant and the valet. On the restaurant side of it, I believe at any given time there's about 20 spaces in use.
20 spaces to the restaurant. And then the parking lot is the balance, 60 spaces? Okay. And this is rented on a monthly basis, or how is it rented?
So the owner operates the parking lot and the daily activities of the hotel and the restaurant, but for larger events such as Red Sox games, there is additional capacity for Red Sox parking, public paid parking.
How is that additional capacity achieved? By tandeming everything?
A good part of it. So we have.
In other words, you only have 88 spaces. So when there's a restaurant, when there's a ball game, how many cars do you actually park?
We park. I guess we'd have to go back to the plan that I think was attached with the materials, but I think the total striped parking count. I don't have that handy, but it's on the plan.
Yeah. So there's 58 striped parking spaces with the ability to go up to 80 spaces during Red Sox games.
Okay, so the way you get to what I'm trying to get to is how do you get to the 80?
That's exactly
by
right.
tandem parking.
Correct. Through our operator.
Right. It's professionally managed at those times to achieve.
VPN.
Yeah. So we've got 10, 5, 4, 14, 8, 4, 13, correct? Is the plan you're talking about?
Yes, correct.
Mr. Bazzani have that?
So that gives you the 58, right?
Correct.
Right.
So
So the additional 30 are imposed over the 58 that are there.
That's right. And so that's during events when you'd have the need for additional parking. It would be
Okay, so how do you distinguish whether it's a restaurant use then or a baseball use? What I'm trying to get to is, if I come in to the restaurant and I'm parked there, valet parked, and now I hang around and it's now a game, and the parking lot has gone from 58, when I park my car, I could pull out, but now I can't get my car. How does that work?
So there's an arrangement with VPN as the operator, and so the restaurant, if you're a customer of the restaurant, you go in and there's a validation process. So you submit your ticket, and then the valet attendant would actually collect your car when notified, but you would have a discount.
I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but this is happening. I park my car, take the key out of my car, go to the restaurant. I meet some buddies, and we hang around. Suddenly there's a ball game, and my car is now in space 58, and there are now 30 cars blocking me. How do I get out?
So the way that they set it up, they always have an aisle that's free for passage, and then they stack the cars depending on what you're there, whether you're going to the restaurant, staying at the hotel, or going to an event. And they actually manage where you park so that they can allow for quick retrieval of the cars in and out.
So in other words, you can't walk out with your keys. It needs to be.
That's exactly right.
It needs to be valeted.
Correct.
So
it's 100% valet.
So.
And this has been going on for how long?
So we renovated the hotel and reopened in July of 2014, and and we've been operating the hotel, restaurant, parking lot since that time with the same VPNE as the operator. So they,
Again, let me get this straight. Anybody parking in the 58 spaces
yeah,
has to surrender their key.
correct.
Really?
Yep. Yep. Even if you're going there for a project meeting, I have to surrender my keys, and I'll meet with them and grab my keys from valet and leave. But there's a valet attendant there at all times.
I mean, how extensive is the work in the restaurant area?
What work?
Are you doing work in the
No,
restaurant?
there's no
No,
it's just parking.
That was, so the restaurant was
Strictly parking.
strictly parking.
Yeah, there's no changes to the site proposed or the building.
When does your existing permit expire?
So the existing relief expired in October
This year?
of this past year, yeah.
Ash.
The past, 2017, yeah. That's when the sunset had expired.
So
So-
what took you so long to get here?
So we had filed back in September. We got our refusal letter, or August or September. We got our refusal letter at the beginning of October, but then had additional community meetings since to discuss, among other things, the proposed sunset clause.
So in essence then, this is an expired use. It's not really an extension because it did expire last fall.
Well, the letter has, Madam Chair, from legal counsel just showed me October 4th, so they get the refusal. So they filed everything that they needed to do. Unfortunately, it was refused.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that, you know, we see this and last minute doesn't work, you know. You obviously had the parking lot for a period of time. Kind of opens you up then for greater scrutiny.
Yeah, we certainly apologize for the timing. We did get the refusal letter beginning of October. We filed our appeal in October. Since that time, we've been in contact with community members and representatives to discuss it. And then we were scheduled for this hearing now.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
How, yeah, I mean, how do you keep a lane open? I mean, I'm looking at the plan, and the plan shows that there's 20-foot deep parking space and a traffic lane. And the traffic lane runs around the building. When you are now stacking the other cars, where is the open lane?
So the way it works is that the back part of the lot on the Van Ness side of the building, so they will stack the cars back there, and then there's always, to run cars to the front from the rear, there's always that aisle on the side that remains open. Now, it's not to say that you don't have a situation where they're going to have to juggle a few cars around to get to your car. That always happens in the valet type operation. So there's certainly times that they have to move a couple cars to retrieve your car.
Where is the valet station?
The valet station is at the front of the site towards Boylston Street. It's directly adjacent to the entrance to the hotel and the restaurant.
Mr. Pisani, I'd also like to, I have personal knowledge of the way they run their lot. They have, at game days, they have more than one valet there. They have a bunch of people, and they do an amazing job.
I'll accept my fellow members.
Thank you.
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Giselle with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. They have met with the with the Fenway Civic Association way back in October, and there have been no questions or concerns. They have been very good neighbors for the time being, and we would hope to continue the relationship with them now. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Nick Carter with Councilor Zacum's office. We'd like to go on record echoing the Mayor's office comments. And I'd also like to add that as we push to keep more people coming to the Fenway Park events off the street parking, we need to have access to lots like these and provide spaces for them so that the residents of Fenway have places to park on the street. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? Bob, who enforces the restricted parking district? Is that the Environment Department?
Yeah, it's Air Pollution Control Commission.
Okay. Okay, thank you. May I have a motion, please?
I'm going to make a motion to approve. I'm going to make it for 3 years. You know,
It's expired, it's a new ballgame here, so to speak. May I have a second?
All
All
right.
those in favor?
Wait a second. I'm going to explain to me why they need 5 instead of 3.
So,
Excuse me for a second, Brian. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Hampton, BPDA. This is a renewal that occurs every 2 years, and because it's an established business with, an established parking situation with the hotel and the restaurant, we believe upstairs at the BPDA 5 years is warranted for this.
Okay, and
No sunset clause.
And so, I will make a motion for the 5 years, but the part I want to say is that it's October, right? Like, when you come in next time and it's late, we're not doing this. Do you know what I mean? Because every parking lot comes in, you've been operating under your old license with the refusal letter, right? And it's not the way to run the business. Okay, so you run a good business, we want you to follow the rules.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
And let's just make sure there's been a review of screening and buffering, because that too ends up falling by the wayside.
Madam Chair, it is all screened and buffered.
There is a good
Yep.
job? Okay.
I'll make a motion for 5 years.
And is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5 years.
It's now 10:36. I'm going to call it the 10:30s. Are there any 10:30s for withdrawals or deferrals? For 10:30. Okay. Go back to the next case, calling BOA 795-833-205 to 207 Newbury Street. This is life safety work and mechanical upgrades for the future tenant improvements. Basement work is limited to the building systems work only and not related to the restaurant fit-out work. The violations, Article 32, Section 4, G-Cod applicability. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board. My name is Francis Adams, the Law Office of Adams and Moranci, with the business address of 350 West Broadway, South Boston, Mass. It's my understanding, Madam Chair and the board members, that this matter is in front of us just for G-Cod approval only, and the Boston Water and Sewer has provided a compliance letter, and that Mr. Simonelli will be testifying in support of the application.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Christian Simonelli, Groundwater Trust, and we do have the approval letter from Water and Sewer.
We also have it, Madam Chair.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 797-480, 70 West Cedar Street. This is to replace and legalize an existing roof decks. The violations, Article 20, Section 4, rear yards in a historic district, H district. Name and address for the record, please.
Elizabeth McCord, 70 West Cedar Street.
So tell us what you're proposing.
We're trying to legalize an existing deck and replace it.
Okay.
And the 10-foot set, we're asking for a relief for the 10-foot setback.
So when was this deck put in?
I think it was probably put in 1950 when the owner converted the single family into a 3-family. It was there when we bought the building in 1974.
And are you expanding it in size in any way?
Sorry?
Are you expanding it in size in any way? It's exactly as it was, okay? How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal? Is anybody here in opposition?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, we'd like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Calling BOA 804-139, 12 Dry Dock Avenue. This is an addition to an existing parking garage. An addition will include 5 levels to match the existing parking structure. The violations, Article 9, Section 2, the existing garage is a non-conforming use. Article 25, Section 5, flood hazard district, no supportive documents provided. Article 8, Section 7, within the An I2 sub-district, the proposed use, the 59, is conditional if parcel is identified as restricted parking. And Article 42A, Section 10D, supplemental parking regulations. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Paul Osborne, Deputy Director of Capital Construction, BPDA, 22 Dry Dock Avenue.
So tell us what's being proposed.
We're here today, we're requesting to put a lateral addition on our existing parking garage. It's about 625 spaces. The whole purpose of all this is our legislative mandate where we have to promote economic development within the industrial park, the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park, and we have done that to this point now. It's just much more beneficial to utilize the land for development purposes, creating jobs for Boston residents, and basically to centralize our parking into a central structure. We are in the restricted parking district. We have been before the board other times related to this subject matter for the original construction and some additions that we added. I think it's in your packet. You've got documentation that relates to the Air Pollution Control Commission. We have a permitted license for parking in the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park for 4,066 spaces. So we are under that cap. We did a master plan update that was December 2017, and the review was that even with the addition that we put on, it'll be approximately 3,200 spaces within the Raymond L. Flynn. But could you please show that, please? Everything within the white line is the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park, and the center location there shows the park garage and the proposed addition. So even with the lateral addition that we're proposing, we'll still have about 800 spaces left in our APCC parking bank. So,
Tell us how many spaces are in the existing garage?
let's see. Total, with the addition, it would be about 2,391.
2,391?
Yes.
And this is a flood hazard district, but there's no habitable space in this building at all?
Correct. No, it's just purely parking, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Yep.
And supplemental parking regs, that refers to the Air Pollution Control Board. We do not have that information, so if you could please make sure we get that, okay?
Okay, yes, very much. I'll be happy to do that.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate. Excuse me, you mentioned, you guys have a handout that you mentioned package.
Yeah, we submitted a package last Thursday that was printed and put in the file.
Yes, we haven't had the pleasure of having a chance to look at it.
I have copies here with me today.
We can leave whatever copies that you...
Is this the one dated January 26th?
April 4th, 2018.
No, we don't have anything in here.
I sent it to Antonella, and she mentioned she was putting it in the file.
We have it here.
Okay. That packet goes through all the articles that we're in violation of. It provides the air pollution control letter. It also provides 2 letters of support. And it also provides an updated refusal letter for one of the articles. I spoke with Frank D'Amato at the Inspectional Services Division. We went over one of the articles, Article 42A, Section 10D. And basically, based on our conversation, he found that article be resolved, but because the refusal letter was already posted, he issued an updated refusal letter, which has been included as Appendix B, which notes that it has been resolved.
And do we have your name and address on the record?
My name is Anthony Zerilli from Weston and Sampson Engineers, 5 Centennial Drive, Peabody, Massachusetts.
Thank you. In the meantime, while we're looking at the document, is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Steve Moore, City Councilor Ed Flynn's office. We'd also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, I just have one question. How is it being constructed? Is it prefabricated?
The elements of the new addition will be matched exactly what the existing structure is. It's all precast, pre-stressed concrete, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Mr.
Thank you.
Bazzani, satisfied with the...
I am, thank you.
One other thing, if I could, Madam Chair. We were also asked by BTD to include space for them on the first floor of the garage, because right now they've got about 45 maintenance vehicles that are outside all the time. They're the signage and the signal shop. So we're utilizing about 13,000 square feet for the BTD maintenance vehicles to make them more weather protective.
May I have a motion? please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Calling BOA 791-989-658 East 7th Street. This is a change actually from a 3-family to a 5-family. Erect a new 2-story rear addition over the open parking, a new side and roof decks, and new sprinkler, fire, and alarm systems. The violation is Article 68, Section 33, off-street parking design, access, drive, and maneuverability. Article 68, Section 8, the usable open space is insufficient. Article 27S, Section 5, this is in the South Boston iPod applicability. Article 68, Section 29, roof structure restricted district. Name and address for the record, please.
Patrick Mahoney, the business address of 160 Federal Street, and with me is architect Tim Johnson, as well as our client Brian Merklin, the owner of the property. On the outset, I'd like to correct a couple of the violations. The project changed substantially through the neighborhood process. The only violations that we are seeking relief on would be usable open space, as well as restricted, off-street parking design with the vehicle maneuverability, and then iPod compliance. The proposed project is staying a 3-family. There will be work, instead of going into the rear of the building as proposed initially, the corrected set of drawings is before you, which is a basement renovation to include living space on a bi-level unit on the first floor. The first floor unit is approximately 1,896.
So are you still proposing the rear addition then?
No.
No. So it's basically maintaining it as a 3-family.
It is maintaining. There's no change of occupancy, yes.
Okay. So tell us about the parking.
There's parking in the rear that's being used. We're confirming that the whole rear backyard is paved. There was a tree stump in the middle of the driveway on the left that was prohibiting vehicle access, although there is one spot back there, or one car back there now. So we have 4 parking spaces that will be proposed with this plan for the existing 3-family. Each unit consists of 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. The first floor unit with the basement is approximately 1,896 square feet, and the second floor unit will be 1,123 square feet, and the top floor is 1,219 square feet. The existing building is not protected with a fire protection system or a fire alarm system. It's just a local system, so that'll be improved as well. And the ceiling height in the basement is 8 feet approximately from the finished floor, proposed finished floor, to the ceiling.
So the existing building will be sprinkler?
It will, yes, yeah.
And that rear 3rd floor addition, was that done legally or not? I'm looking at the drawings and or the photos, and it looks like there's an extension over the first and second floor, has white siding on it.
It's actually the entire rear of the building, Madam Chair. Just the siding is a different color. So if you look at the cover drawing, you can see it's a flat. The 3 windows and the 3 decks that are stepped in a little bit from the driveway. That's the existing building that's maintaining. There's no external addition. The existing envelope of the building is staying the same.
And it'll be exterior rehab too?
No, there's no. I mean, it'll be repaired, and it's being repaired now under a short form permit.
So it will be upgraded.
That is correct, Madam Chair. Hardy plank siding, new windows, new trim, painted, brought up to its old look.
Right, but it's the existing design is staying the same. It's a material change, but just replace the wood with AZEC, but the material and design is the same.
How are the plans designed?
Drawings are added.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, we would like to go on record in support. This started off as a much larger building, adding 2 units to the existing structure. After hearing feedback from neighbors, it was reduced to proposing an addition to the existing 3-unit building. There was still opposition to that, so the developer did change it again to not expand on the footprint of the building and simply capture living space in the basement. So at this point, we are in support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I am an abutter that lives on East 7th Street. We had several meetings regarding this particular piece of property with the proposals for expansion from existing 3-family to a 5-unit structure. The opposition was overwhelming from the abutters and neighbors within the community, and I had a petition here from abutters and neighbors that was in opposition, and we had several meetings, as I've indicated, and apparently Mr. Johnson, through our meetings, decided to keep the structure as a 3-family, provide 4 parking spots with the potential for 2 in the future, which I think the neighborhood would be in support of to alleviate the traffic situation, parking situation on East 7th Street. That neighborhood has been under siege for over a year now with noise violations, not from just Mr. Johnson, but from other developments that are going forward there. And I've shared that with Mr. John Allison with encroachment by other developers on public walkways.
So can I ask you, so you are in support of this development?
As it stands right now.
Okay, thank you.
And may we have your name, please?
John Hines, H-Y-N-E-S.
Anybody else to speak in support of this proposal?
Hi, my name is Kara Kusha, and I'm a direct abutter. I support the plan as it's laid out to keep the current building as it is and keep it as a 3-family unit, as well as provide 4 parking spots.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Calling the last case for 9:30, calling BOA 794-377-201 West 8th Street. This is to erect a new 3-family dwelling with proposed 5 off-street parking on a vacant lot. The violation is Article 68, Section 27S. This is in the iPod applicability. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Francis Adams. I'm an attorney at the Law Office of Adams and Moranci with the business address of 350 West Broadway, South Boston, Mass. To my right is Mark Murphy, the applicant, proposed developer of the project.
Tell us what's being proposed.
Sure. Madam Chair, the proposal, as you can tell, is a zoning compliant project. It's been designed to meet all of the current zoning. The only reason we're here is because of iPod applicability. Its proposal is a 3-unit structure with 5 off-street parking spaces. It's a multi-family residential district. It will have approximate size of the units will be 1,675 square feet. They'll all be 2-bed, 2.5 bathroom. The height of the building is going to be approximately 39.1 feet. There's no roof deck, and there are 3 small decks off the back, approximately 5 by 11.
And the parking is, access to the garage is abutting the front door.
Yes, it's exterior. It's parking in the rear, so you come through the building. It's not enclosed garage parking. It's an open parking plan.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, we would like to go on record in support. We did hold an on-site abutters meeting, and this project is in line with the Article 68 zoning. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Steve Moore, City Councilor at Flynn's office. We'd also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve with continued BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Madam
Thank
Chair,
you.
before we go to the 10:30s, I'm going to call any deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30. No deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30. Counselor? Address, please.
Good morning, 4 to 8 Tyleston Street.
For the record, I'm sorry, BOA 746-305, 4 to 8 Titleson Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Attorney John Fulgini, 10 Forbes Road, Braintree.
What are you requesting a deferral?
Yes, Madam Chair, we are. We had gone through a couple of Butters meetings. At the last Butters meeting, we thought it was a very good meeting, as did, I think, representatives from the Councilor's office as well as ONS. However, they received some phone calls, so they've asked that we do a follow-up meeting with them, just to clarify some issues that have been raised.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion for referral.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. The date, please?
Counselor, we're into June 12th.
June 12th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals? Madam, address, please.
77R William T. Morassi Boulevard.
I'm sorry, say that again?
77R William T. Morassi Boulevard. It's on the 11:30.
That's not 11:30. I'm calling 10:30s right now.
Okay, I apologize.
That's okay. This is 10:30s only. Any withdrawals or deferrals?
Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we will be back at 11 o'clock. This is the Board of Appeal meeting for April 10th. Just a reminder, make sure your cell phones are off, and if you need to have conversations, have them outside of the room. Let's see. In conformance with the open meeting law, I'm informing you that this meeting is being live streamed. If you're here to speak in support or in opposition of a project, please put your name and address on the record and give us new information. Use this opportunity to inform us of something new. If somebody else has already stated your concern, just put your name and address on the record. Mr. Fortune?
Thank you, Madam Chair. While we were out there, we are deferring 4 projects, so I'm going to call them in for the record. BOA 777-122, 67 to 69 Sanford Street. 3 companion cases, BOA 777-126, 67 to 69 Sanford Street. BOA 777-136, 6769 Sanford Street, and BOA 777-129, 71 Sanford Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Michael Liu, 67, 69, and 71 Sanford Street, Mattapan.
So tell us what you're requesting.
Deferring my area until next month.
And for what reason?
I need to have another meeting with the Lower Middle area of my area.
Okay. And is it scheduled?
It will be scheduled.
Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Motion for deferral.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date?
You're going to have a date of May 22nd at 11:30, 5/22 at 11:30.
Okay. See you then.
Thank you, sir.
Call one more time. Any deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30? Hearing none, we'll call the first case. Calling BOA 799-149, 37 Iroquois Street. There is a companion case, BOA 799-150, 37 Iroquois Street. This is a change occupancy from a one-family to a two-family. The building is currently being used as a two-family and no new work at this time. The violations, Article 59, Section 37, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 59, Section 8, dimensional regulations, the location of the main entrance. This is for 37. This is to add one residential parking space. The violations, Article 10, Section 1, limitation of area of accessory uses. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Nick Zazula, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller, 28 State Street, Suite 802 in Boston. With me to my right is Adam Sarbaugh, who is the applicant and property owner for this project. We've provided the board with a brief handout summarizing and providing further background information on the project. The proposal is to convert the occupancy of this existing building from a single-family to a two-family dwelling in order to allow for separate occupancy of an existing walkout garden-level unit in the building. No change to the current building envelope. And again, the related appeal is for an addition of a parking space at the premises to relocate an existing curb cut to match the existing driveway. For some reason, the curb cut, when you look at the existing building, is on the right side of the house, and the driveway is on the left side of the house. I don't know, we're not quite sure how that's happened. Mr. Sarbaugh purchased the property in 2015, and we're looking to close the curb cut, which leads to nowhere, and open a curb cut on the left to allow for one parking space for the existing building.
Does he live in the unit?
He does not.
No.
He does not.
Within 500 feet.
He lives within 500 feet of this building. And what we're looking to do, it's a large 6-bed single family. It has 6 bedrooms and 2 levels. It also has 2 kitchens. And we're looking to split this into 2 units to more conform with the 2F3000 underlying sub-district that it's in, to make it more in line with the neighborhood. It is a 2F3000 neighborhood. In terms of the zoning relief that we're seeking, the first is for location of the main entrance for this second unit. The existing location of the main entrance faces the side lot line. It does not face the front lot line. It's on the right side of the left side of the building where the existing driveway is. Article 59, Section 37, off-street parking insufficient. The zoning code requires 1 per dwelling unit. With the change of occupancy to a 2-family, we would require 2 spaces. We are adding 1 space now, so we would be deficient by 1 parking space. And finally, on the related appeal, the parking in the side lot area requires a variance for limitation of area of accessory uses because it's within 5 feet of the side lot line. Again, that's an existing driveway. It's been there for a long time, and we're just now looking to actually use it by moving the curb cut over from the right to the left.
So tell us about the units. What's the size of Unit 1 and Unit 2? And how many bedrooms per unit?
So it would be 4 bedrooms in the first unit, the street level entrance, and 2 bedrooms in the second unit. The garden level walkout unit would be 2 bedrooms. So no increase in unit count. It would be 4 and 2 instead of 6 in a single.
What are the sizes of the units?
Yeah, square footage.
Thank you. Probably about 1,200 and 900, probably.
Yeah.
Estimating 1,200 and 900.
Yeah.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
And tell us about the parking. What's the width of the parking?
Sure.
Of the proposed driveway?
10 feet. 10 feet is the width, the proposed width, and 30 feet, 13 inches is the, 30 feet is the proposed length. Again, that's existing, right? There's no...
That's existing.
That's existing.
Is this a small brown house?
Yes.
Yes.
So you're looking to relocate the curb cut from as you look at the building, from the right to the left-hand
If you're
side.
looking on Google Street, if you go back in time,
Correct.
like one spot, it shows a better picture where you can see the curb cut on the right and the garage.
It's in your, Madam Chair, it's in the packet, it's the last few pictures. The first picture is the existing curb cut to the right, which just leads to a gate and a walkway, there's no parking. And then the second picture shows it a little better, that there's no driveway there. Whereas in the third picture, you can see that there is a gate for parking and an existing driveway, but there is a closed curb and no open curb cut there. So we're looking to move that curb cut over to utilize the existing parking and make it conforming with the zoning code and everything else.
How long has it been used as a two-family?
Used as a two-family.
Now, it's not used as a two-family, it's used as,
But there are two kitchens on two
Yes.
different levels.
Correct.
correct, yeah.
Previous owner had
And
it
how long have you owned the building?
since 2015.
Any other questions from the board? How are the plans? I did ask you how the plans were.
As long as you're at it.
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Giselle Gurr at the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. There have been no questions or concerns delivered to our office. Everyone's in support of this, including Community Alliance of Mission Hill, NHS, and the abutters. Thank you.
Alicia Del Vento from the Office of Representative Jeffrey Sanchez. We would like to go on record in support of this project.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would also note that we did provide letters of support from Community Alliance of Mission Hill as well as Mission Hill Neighborhood Housing Services.
Anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And these are for both appeals
That's
that
correct.
were read into the record.
That's correct.
Okay? You're all set with that.
Thank you very much.
Calling BOA 795-414, 64 Alpine Street.
That's that.
This is a 4-story residential building with 14 residential units and roof deck and outdoor parking for 7 spaces. The violations, Article 50, Section 28, a multifamily dwelling unit is a forbidden use. Article 50, Section 29, the lot area for additional dwelling units is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the lot width is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, lot frontage is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the floor to area ratio is excessive. Article 50, Section 29, the height requirements is excessive. Article 50, Section 29, the height requirement, they doubled up on it. Article 50, Section 29, front yard setback requirement is insufficient. Article 50, Section 9, side yard setback requirement is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 50, Section 43, off-street loading is insufficient. Article 50, Section 43, off-street parking requirement is insufficient. And Article 80, 80E-2, small project review. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Secretary, Madam Chair, members of the board. Joseph Feaster for the law firm of McKenzie & Associates, 183 State Street, Boston.
Mr. Peace, tell us what's being proposed.
Certainly. This is a 14-unit development that's being proposed by, well, first let me introduce the persons who are joining me here at the table. Next to me is Troy DePizer from the architect from Dream Collaborative. Next to him is Darrell Settles, who is one of the principals of the firm Catalyst, which is the developer of this project, along with Greg Janey, who is also a principal of that firm as well. What's being proposed here is a 14-unit consisting of studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and a 3-bedroom unit. This is a property which combines property that are owned by the principals of this development and a BRA parcel which is adjacent to it, and the location of the development is on the corner of Alpine Street and Regent Street in Roxbury. This project will, as I mentioned, will have 14 units. It is, the submission said that there would be 7 parking spaces, but in fact there are 8 parking spaces which will be on this development. It will have a roof deck as well, which is accessible by all of the residents of this condominium property. There will be 2 affordable units. here, one a studio and one a one-bedroom for this particular unit. There has been a community process that has taken place. This was orchestrated by the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, Mr. McFadden, and Madam Chair, if you would like to hear more from the architect, we can have that, or from any of the principals, we'd be more than happy to provide that information.
Sir, somebody on your team, could you talk through the zoning violations? What's required and what are you proposing? Because I know some of these are triggered because this is a corner lot.
Right.
But can you speak to those, the others? The others?
Right. So the lot area minimum for zoning, you have 2,000 per unit, and our proposed project, it's a little over 9,400 for the entire site. Additional lot area for each dwelling unit, which is 2,000 square feet, and
Please tell us if it's 2,000 square feet per unit, what does that translate to the requirements? 14 times 2 is 28.
so 28,000.
28,000 and you're at 9,000.
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead.
The lot width minimum 25 feet. On Alpine, we have 39. On a Regent, we have 32. The lot frontage minimum 25 feet. On Alpine, we have 76. Regent, we have 56. The floor area ratio max is 0.8, and we have 1.5. Building height maximum 3 stories and 35 feet. We have 4 stories and 45 feet. The usable open space minimum per dwelling unit, 640 square feet per unit, and we have a total of 1,600 square feet.
Okay, so 640 times 14, so that's a significant change. Okay?
Front yard minimum depth 20 feet, and we have 5 feet. Side yard minimum width, we have.
Let me just talk with front yard. Is that modal front yard that you're meeting?
Pardon?
Is this modal front yard 5 feet?
Yes.
Modal, so it's the other buildings on Alpine pretty much have 5 feet front yard?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Side yard 10 feet, and on Alpine we have 6 feet, and on Regent we have 12. And the rear yard minimum depth of 30 feet, and we have 51 feet.
Okay, and tell us about the parking. What's required and what are you proposing?
So we are proposing 8 spaces for the parking, and it should be one per unit.
And tell us about loading, off-street loading.
We don't have any off-street loading. We're just providing the 8 parking spaces in the rear of the property.
Okay, so if people are moving in and out, it would have to be on-street parking? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But also, Madam Chair, just to speak to that, the parking is behind the property, so there would be accessibility from the parking lot as well.
Okay. And this is an elevator building?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And did I see a studio unit at 415?
That is correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So all the front studio units are at 415?
No, we have one at 490
Okay.
on the first level as well.
Okay.
The studios are, Madam Chair and members of the board, the studios are dispersed throughout the building. There's on the ground floor, there's on the second floor and the fourth floor. One bedrooms are on the second floor, the ground floor, and on the fourth floor and the third floor. And then 2 bedrooms are on the ground floor, second floor, third floor, and fourth floor, and then the 3-bedroom is on the third floor.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani? Any questions from the board?
The access to the park is from Regent Street, right, not Alpine?
Right, it's off of Regent Street.
Okay, and then I assume this is just a typo, that on the 5th page of your packet where you got, and you're talking about 14 units, it says 13 units on site data.
Right, so it's 14.
Okay, so that's a mistake.
Yes.
And the application was for 14, not 13?
14.
Yes.
Yes.
The only change from the application, Mr. Pisani, was that there are 8 parking spaces versus the 7.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Greetings, Madam Chair, members of the board. Joshua McFadden, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in support at this time. We did have an abutters meeting, which did go well. We did receive some feedback from one neighbor as it pertains to density as a whole. As of right now, we definitely in support of the project, however.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Ray Panisi from the Boston Planning and Development Agency. We own the 41 Regent portion of the site. I'd like to go on record in support of the project. Thank you.
What is the ownership situation with the BPDA lot? How does that work?
How it's working is we had put out an RFP for this property, and the applicant applied for the RFP. They were the sole applicant for the RFP. It made sense because they own the private portion of the site. So the two are combined into a larger lot size.
How large was that Regent Street property? Sorry. Okay, let's make you pop up.
The Regent Street property is just slightly under 5,000 square feet.
No, it's
6,400.
The Regent Street property, the one you're talking about, the BRA?
Yes.
You're talking about the BPDA parcel? That's 2,990 square feet.
Oh, I'm sorry. My
yes,
memory.
2,990 square feet. The private parcel is 6,502 square feet.
Yes, the two of them, it ends up being a little over 8,000 square feet total.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody else here to speak in support? Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPDA review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Calling BOA 773-836, 6 St. James Place. This is extension of living space into a pre-existing walkout basement space. Violations Article 50, Section 29. The floor-to-area ratio is excessive. The proposed FAR increase will be excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
Jay Eigerman, 183 State Street, Boston.
Adam Liss, 92 JB Drive, Marston's Mills, Mass.
Mr.
What's being proposed?
Yes, Mr. Liss is the owner of the property. I'm the attorney. So this is an existing row house built in the 19th century. It's on, it's a row of 6 on a private way, not open to public travel. Very small lot, about 948 square feet. The basement is existing. It's a 2.5-story building, and the back of the house is built into a hillside. So when you look at the building from the private way, the basement actually looks like the first story. But under ISD records, it was only listed for storage. So we'd like to legalize the condition and ask for a variance so that the FAR can go to 1.3. We're adding 248 square feet, I think. 261. Excuse me, 261. There was a neighborhood meeting. Nobody attended. We don't know of any opposition.
So tell us, is this a one-family?
It is. It's a one-family, and it's rented right now to another family. Mr. List does not reside there.
Okay, and what's the square footage of the existing
The
occupied space?
the resulting home will only be, 1,205 square feet.
So this width is with the addition?
Once the basement is legalized, yeah.
And what's the floor-to-ceiling height in the basement?
I don't know that. Adam, do you have that?
It's about 6'7". There's a beam that drops down to 6'4".
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Greetings, Madam Chair, members of the board. Joshua McFadden, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support. We did have a meeting. Just as the applicant said, nobody attended. We did get some feedback from one abutter who reviewed the project as well and said that she had no concerns.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? And just to clarify, you said the floor-to-ceiling height in the basement is at a minimum 6'4" and at a maximum 6'7".
Yeah. And there was a pre-existing bathroom, pre-existing laundry down there when we bought the unit. It was already being used that way.
Okay, given this information, may I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to grant the relief requested with a proviso that no building code relief be granted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with
Thank
that
you.
proviso.
Calling BOA 784-510, 6 Woodbine Street. This is a change of occupancy from a one-family to a two-family dwelling with proposed 5 off-street parking. Minor interior renovations. The violations, Article 50, Section 29, usable open space is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Christine Gethy, 6 Woodbine Street, Roxbury, Mass.
So tell us what's being proposed.
I live in a single-family home that I purchased 6 years ago. I'm transitioning it from a single-family to a two-family. To be able to accomplish that, I need to partition the first floor from the second floor with separate entrances in the front of the building, as well as on the second floor, I only need to add a kitchen. On the first floor, I need to add a full bathroom.
So tell us what the proposed sizes of the first unit and how many bedrooms, and the second unit, what the proposed size and the number of bedrooms.
The first unit is 800 square feet with 1 bedroom, and the combination of the second floor and the half story is 3 bedrooms for about 1,900 square feet.
Okay, and that's 5 parking spaces in the rear?
Yes.
Okay, how are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joshua McFadden, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You've been approved with that proviso. Good luck.
Calling BOA 786-030, 15 Woodbine Street. This is off-street parking for 2 vehicles. The violations, Article 10, Section 1, limitation of area of accessory uses. Article 50, Section 29, usable open space is insufficient. Article 50, Section 43, the location of off-street parking. Article 50, Section 43, off-street parking design and maneuverability. And Article 50, Section 44, side yards of certain narrow lots. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Evelyn Ortega, and the address is 15 Woodbine Street, Roxbury, Mass.
So tell us what you're proposing.
I'm proposing to get a permission to get parking for 2 vehicles in my property. At the beginning, the plan was for 1 parking, and then I went back to do the certification again, and they did the plan for 2 parking lot. I submit on.
So let's backtrack a little bit. Tell us how many units on that lot.
In my house,
Yes.
2 units.
2 units, and you live in the house?
I live in the 2nd floor.
Okay. And so where is the parking being proposed? On the sides, on one side, the right side, or the left side of the building?
It's in front of the building. It's in my building.
It's right in front of the
Yes.
of the building.
I
Okay.
submit pictures.
Okay. Okay. And it's there already?
It is there already, yeah.
How long has it been there? Is there parking on that side of the street?
It is.
And is there parking on the street in front of your house?
Yes.
Yes, there is. I'm sorry, yeah, okay.
And also I submit signage from the neighbors.
Okay.
that they agree with it.
Let's submit that to the lady right there.
To Josh.
I'll take it.
Oh,
Thank you.
Everybody did the same thing. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, how are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Side
The
yard.
plans are adequate, clearly shows 2 parking spaces on the left side of the house. There's adequate distance from the house to the property line.
It looks like it's front yard parking.
No, it is not, because the 2 cars are pulled back so that the lead bumper is basically almost in line with the bay. It's definitely behind where the front porch is.
Can we have a look at that picture, please? The
Picture.
photograph that you had? Oh, here it is. Ms. Pisani, I think this,
The other picture, I'm looking at,
Photographs
I'm
might-
looking at the
might
survey
edify-
plan.
Here, this is what it looks like.
did he want to
no, we have that. We just wanted to look at the photos.
want in
Well, this
December?
This clearly is front yard parking, but what is being proposed is that the curb cut be moved, be located on the left side.
Is there enough room between the houses?
There is. The survey has drawn the automobiles at 8'6" by 20 feet.
Yeah.
So you're going to take out the tarmac that's there. You're going to take out the asphalt.
what's that?
Okay.
Again, PPD.
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Josh McFadden, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services, I'd like to bring in support at this time. Applicant gave me a shout out to direct brothers as well as we, and at this time we see that there is no problem pertaining to parking on the
Josh,
street.
let's ask a question, which because we're just trying to understand, is through the community process, was there discussion about removing the asphalt that's already there?
There was not.
There was not.
There was not.
Because the photos show asphalt bang smack in the front yard, but the plans show that there'll be a driveway with parking to the side of the building. And we just need clarification to know exactly what is being proposed.
So as of right now, the direct brothers said they were in support of the parking situation. We did not go over the asphalt.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a danger, when we grant zoning relief. We do not have the ability to track what actually gets done. And sometimes with zoning relief, nothing gets done, especially with an existing condition, because on record, it says, hey, I can park in my yard. So I think that perhaps it is incumbent upon the board occasionally to actually do site visits and to ascertain that the relief that we have granted has actually been implemented and that the paper is not simply a mechanism to continue to use in a legal situation. I think we can cover that with a proviso.
I mean, the question is, if plans show one thing and photos show another,
Yeah.
does it make sense to just have a short deferral so this can be clarified?
Well, Madam Chair, with all due respect, I mean, I have a tendency to go with a stamped registered plan
Okay.
because the surveyor has listed the sizes of the automobiles, clearly shows them correctly, and that's not the issue. The issue is whether or not what we approve gets implemented. Or, I mean, we face this in other instances where what we approve and what gets built are sometimes wildly different.
What is the distance between the two
The drawing shows it as 8'6".
And is all of that on belonging to number 15? Or
Yeah.
just
No, the drawing clearly shows that there is the ability to park cars correctly, whether it's implemented or not is the issue.
Which ones are hers? Number one?
Can we make a proviso that says that we approve this?
Thanks, Josh. Thank you.
Josh.
Is anybody else here to speak in support? Is anybody here to speak in opposition? Okay.
So
I'm
I'll
going
have
to make a motion to grant the relief requested with the following proviso. That the macadam in the front yard is to be taken out.
Be what?
You have to take out the asphalt in your front yard completely. And that you have to notify this board when construction of the curb cut is being done. And the board will make a site visit.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Do we want design review? So that it's another little bit of check in there?
Candidly, dimensionally, I'm not sure what you're going to review.
I'm sorry?
Candidly, dimensionally, I'm not sure what is reviewable.
Okay.
Is there mention of asphalt on the plan?
Okay, so
What, to go along with your proviso would be that a new plan is submitted showing that the asphalt is taken up so that everything is consistent.
Excellent. Yes, I'll go along with that.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set with that proviso.
Calling DOA 798-414, 7 Rowell Street. This is a build-out of the basement level. Violations Article 67, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, I'm Chris Montani. I live at 14 Rockmere Street, Dorchester, Mass. And this is my builder, Jim Church, of All-in-One Restoration.
Tell us what's being proposed.
In 2009, there was a fire, in 2016, there was a fire in the basement. It was an electrical fire. I'm proposing to rebuild the space that was built out in the basement during the gut renovation from 2006. The permitting in 2006 seems to have been incomplete. It did not include a spiral staircase, and it did include the basement bathroom. That was permitted in 2006, but the rest of the build-out seems to be questionable in terms of what was permitted and what wasn't.
So is this a single family or a two-family?
This is one unit in a 3-unit building.
So this is one unit in the basement, essentially?
No, it's the first floor and basement. The building is on the side of a hill, and the basement in the back has about 2 feet of clearance. In the front, the basement is about 4 feet above the ground.
Okay. And what's the floor-to-ceiling height in that basement?
Currently, it's about 8 feet.
Okay.
With a build-out, it'll be slightly under 8 feet.
Okay. And, okay, how are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate. So this was previously approved by this board for use in the basement, or was the work simply done without approval?
I am not aware of a Board of Appeals approval. What I'm saying is in 2006, there was a gut rehab of this entire building. And when I went back and looked at the permitting, it included the basement bathroom, a full bathroom. There was no explicit approval of a new spiral staircase that was installed in 2006, and I find no record of an approval of the spiral staircase into the basement. There was evidence that there was a kitchen down there before the 2006 renovation, but I don't know what was legally permitted. I don't have any evidence of a kitchen being permitted down
How
there.
long have you owned the building?
I bought this unit in 2011.
Okay, so, and this property has not been before this board at any time in the past, do you know?
I believe the previous owner brought it to the board to try to legalize the space in the basement. That's what I was told by the building department. I was not familiar with that process. That was before I bought the unit. The unit, when I bought it, I was told it had a finished basement, and that was the.
Are these condos?
There are 3 condos, yes.
Condos,
Units 1,
okay.
2, and 3.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
So basically, you're here simply to legally combine the first floor with the basement?
That's correct. And when I talked to the architect about the rebuild, I wanted to make it safer than what was there, and so we added the exterior door in the basement, which would be at grade, and to take 2 existing windows and make them larger as secondary egress.
Any questions from the board?
I do have one question. Mr. Bazzani, how is the access from the first floor to the basement?
The access is through by the circular stair.
There are actually 2 accesses to the basement. One would be by the rear staircase, which was from the original build-out of the building. That goes into the common area. And then with the addition of the spiral staircase, there'd be a second direct access to this space.
Any other questions? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Flavia Taveda, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services, the applicant met with Brothers and Jonesville Civic as support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor, Frank Baker's office, would like to go on record in support.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you.
Before I call the next case, I'm going to call for rediscussions at 11:30. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals for 11:30 for the rediscussions? I believe I know the address on this one, so I'm going to call it in for the record. BOA 554-620-77R, William T. Morrissey Boulevard. Name and address for the record, please.
What are you requesting?
A deferral. Right now, we need more time to work with the BPDA to figure out a license agreement.
So, how many deferrals has this project had?
This will be the third.
This is the third deferral?
Well, originally, yeah.
Why are we even considering another deferral?
I think it's the BPDA, correct?
Any clarification?
I'm not aware of any discussions about license agreements.
Who have you been talking with? Who has Clear Channel been speaking with?
Unfortunately, I don't work directly with the person they've been communicating with, so I cannot answer that. I do think there have been discussions about a license agreement for billboards in general for other locations we have as well as this one.
Yes.
I can't speak to the specifics of that.
I mean, candidly, this sounds like simply wanting to keep this alive while other things are alive to decide what they're really going to do.
Any opinions from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services?
Doesn't sound like they're working on anything.
So it
Oh,
sounds to
we're
me like
working
you're
on it, but
leaving it
license
to our
agreements are a
discretion.
different bird.
Okay. Okay, so given all that,
I'm going to make a motion to deny the deferral.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion has been denied, the request has been denied, okay?
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 11:30? Hearing none, we'll go back to the 10:30. BOA 795-964, 44 Orchard Field Street. This is to demolish an existing roof and framing structure and the raised framing and roof to 35 feet to allow more living space for a bedroom. Violations, Article 65, Section 9. Excessive FAR, Article 65, Section 9. Excessive number of stories, Article 65, Section 9. Insufficient front yard setback, Article 65, Section 9. Insufficient side yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Michael Wong, owner of 44 Orchardfield Street since 2002.
Will you be speaking?
Yeah, I'll be speaking on the
Okay, so
project.
tell us what's being proposed.
Yes, Madam Chairman and the board here, and my name is Michael, and I would like to have my roof demolished and basically the same living space, but we'd like to have the roof altered so it can match with all the neighbor. there's no additional living space because I need an additional bedroom for my daughter. She has 5 room and study, and also turn to a bedroom for her. So it's a single family, small, tiny house, and would like to do that. I have some picture of the neighborhood that you can see. Everybody have the same, diagonal side, except my house would go the other way. So if I have my roof demolished, it will be the same as the neighbor. And it basically, as you can see this picture right here, that we haven't do anything in our house, and it start getting rotten. So instead of spending a lot of money, we just get a new construction.
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chairman, members of the board, Bob Pham, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, we held on-site abutters and we had no opposition, and they received full support from Freeport Adams Neighborhood Services.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor Frank Baker's office would like to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan. On behalf of City Council at Large, Michael Flaherty, Council doing record in support.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you. Calling BOA 747-118, 287 Chestnut Avenue. This is an existing condition, retroactively modify a 2-family classification to a 3-family. The violation is Article 55, Section 55-40, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 55, Section 9, the additional lot area is insufficient. Article 55, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
Peter Rowe, I'm the owner of 287 Chestnut Avenue, Jamaica Plain, and I'm requesting existing condition variance or approval to allow the existing 3-family house to be classified as such, as currently classified as a 2.
So just a couple of questions. Has taxes been paid as a 3?
Yes, since for the last 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us the size of the units.
What are the size of the units? The first floor is a 2-bedroom. The second floor is a it's 5 rooms with a 2-bedroom. Second floor is 6 rooms with a 2-bedroom, and the third floor is 4 rooms with a 1-bedroom.
Okay. And is any parking provided?
No, there's no parking on the lot.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Drawings are adequate. So this was condo originally?
No.
No, it's not?
No, I had plans drawn up in the early 80s thinking I might condo it. But that's why I had the existing plans. Yeah.
And do you live in the house?
I don't. My daughter lives in the house, but I live in West Roxbury.
Okay.
So the unit has been, how long has it actually been used?
As a 3-family, since before I bought it. I actually bought it and moved into the 3rd floor apartment in 1978 when I bought the property. So it had been used as a 3-family since before I bought it, which was 40 years ago, but I don't know how far back that goes.
Okay. What's it taxed as?
It's taxed as a 3, and it's been taxed as a 3 since 1986. That's on the assessors online. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. On behalf of Alex Valdez, we'd like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan. On behalf of City Council at Large, Michael Flaherty, Council doing record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, I just had a quick question. I just pulled it up on Google Maps. Well, I know it's not a violation, but you have parking on the side? Is it also a shared parking with the house next door?
No, that property belongs to the house next door. It's not my parking, but yes, it's it's within about 3 feet of my property.
They're right next door?
Yeah, they're literally right next door.
So that's not your parking?
That's not my parking. That's the owner, Dustin Carter, the owner of the property next door.
That's fine. I mean, you said you had no parking. I thought it was yours. Okay.
Yeah, no, I wish I had parking.
Is that parking in the front yard?
Yeah, that's the house next door. That's not his.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Calling the last case for 10:30, calling BOA 775-884, 22 to 24 Highview Avenue. This is the finished portion of the basement with a full bath using Owings Corning basement finishing system. Violations Article 56, Section 8, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
Morning, Ed Allen, 60 Shawmut Road, Canton.
Please put your name in it. So tell us what's being proposed.
She wants to put a family room with a full bathroom down in the basement.
And what's the floor-to-ceiling height there?
This joist is at 7'7". We'll have a minimum of 6'8"
Okay.
finished ceiling.
Okay. And is this a one-family or a two-family?
It's a side-by-side too.
Okay.
Condominium.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Jack Duggan, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, just like to go on record of support. We held an abutters meeting back in January, went before the Neighborhood Council in February, had full support from Neighborhood Council. We'd just like to put our support on record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of the City Council at large, Michael Flaherty, council to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're all set.
Calling 11:30, calling BOA 777-271, 606 Cambridge Street. This is to open a new driveway for 2 vehicles. The violations, Article 10, Section 1, a minimum of 5 foot from the lot line. Article 51, Section 9, open space is insufficient. Article 51, Section 56, off-street parking and loading. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Nicholas Buritsas, 606 Cambridge Street, Allston, Massachusetts. This is my sister-in-law and co-owner Elaine Rashiodis.
So the last time you were here, there were issues with the parking. We asked that the abutting property owner be here. What's happened since then?
My neighbor to my left at 604 Cambridge Street, Eric Porter, is here. I also have some letters from the co-owner of 604, Kevin Arsenal. I have also a letter of support from my neighbor to the right at 604. I have another letter of support from my neighbor across the street, Dr. Mirabadi.
Why don't you have a seat, please?
Okay.
So the issue is that you are proposing a driveway as we face the house on the right-hand side of the property.
Right.
You have an existing driveway as you face the house on the left-hand side of the driveway, which you share with the owner at 604. And
Right.
you have a garage in the back, and you have an issue with accessing your own driveway because of the number of cars and the way the residents of 604 park.
Basically,
So we requested that the owner of 604 come before us and tell us what he can do to ensure that all the tenants at 604 make sure that your driveway is free and clear. So that's how we left the last meeting.
that is correct, and I'd like to say to the board that I have an excellent relationship with my neighbors, both sides, and we try our best. However, we can't control when the people come thinking that, oh, my boyfriend, my whatever relative lives here and they leave their car. There is nobody to control the situation because
So let's hear from you. Put your name and address on the record, please.
Eric Porter. I'm the owner of 604 Cambridge Street.
Do you live in the building?
No, I live about an eighth of a mile away on Linden Street.
Okay. So how many units in that building?
4 units.
4 units, and how many bedrooms per unit?
It's a 5 of 5, a single bedroom and a 2 bedroom.
Sorry, a 5 A
5521.
So in the 5, do you have families living in the 5?
No.
No? Okay, so here's where we have an issue. Because there cannot be more than 4 unrelated individuals living in a unit. So so your first and second unit, do you have 5 unrelated individuals living in there?
It depends on each year. So sometimes we get a brother and a sister that will live together, or 2 brothers, because there's, oftentimes they're college students, graduate students, again, people who just know each other. So it depends, it depends on the situation. Each year is different.
Trying very hard not to reflect the smiles that I see out there. So, okay. And then that you have a 2 and a 1.
Yeah.
Okay, and so in essence, how many vehicles do you know your tenants have?
I don't generally know, because a lot of times it's really easy to park on Cambridge Street. So I never ask them to tell me how many vehicles they have. But generally, I would say it's only maybe 1 or 2 per apartment.
Okay, how long have you owned the building at 604?
Since 2009.
2009? And have you gotten it, is it totally permitted for the use that you have?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So it sounds, because we were confused the last time this applicant was here, because it sounds like, there's a need for good neighborliness.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, if he's being stuck and his use of the property is being impeded in some way, impeded in some way, then you as a property owner have some responsibility. So
Absolutely.
The question is, can he call you and have you ensure that those vehicles are towed off of the property at 604?
Well, he has the option of towing. So since I purchased the property, I think things have improved greatly with Nick and our communication from the previous landlord, who was an absentee landlord. I live nearby. I'm on the property several times a week. I'm never, at any point in time I can visit it. So the issue is as a shared driveway, it's a narrow driveway. So if somebody chooses, whether it's a delivery person or an Uber person or somebody stopping by to drop something off, or somebody who's just being outright selfish and can't realize that there are cars parked in the front of the driveway, they end up blocking the driveway. So I think things have improved drastically since I've owned it, but and Nick has blocked me before. So he's had a dumpster.
Okay, so let's just make sure on the relief that's being requested. Let's get a motion on that, because obviously the owner does have a driveway. He has a curb cut already, shared driveway. Do we see a need for the second driveway?
Can I ask some questions before we do a motion? I have to say the situation strikes me as ridiculous. These people come asking for something that there is no need for. They're just doing it to keep harmony in the neighborhood. It's very nice of them to suggest that this is an alternative. It costs money. And they have a driveway, they have a garage, they can't get into it. And the reason they can't get into it is because of the tenants at 604. That's your responsibility. So why, it just is beyond bizarre to me that this board would approve a curb cut and a driveway.
Well, I think, a lot.
Let me
All right.
finish. On the right side of the building, in order to accommodate a situation which could be very easily addressed by the owner of the building, assuring that nobody's blocking their way, their access, and then we wouldn't come to us, and it shouldn't come to us.
So I think a lot of condo buildings, a lot of 2 families do have 2 driveways. He has a 2-family house. So it is common for them to have a 2-family. I do not, again,
take you off the hook.
Absolutely. I do everything I can in my power. The only thing I think that we could do at this point would be to put a sliding gate, because it is not our tenants generally who are blocking them. It's guests, delivery people, Uber drivers.
But the Uber drivers are in and out, they're not gonna stay there.
Okay.
Same for delivery people. That's not the issue.
Absolutely.
But you could put it into the condo documents, correct?
It's not condos, though. It's rental.
Oh, they are rentals, okay.
We do have it in our documents that they're not allowed to block the drive.
I mean, what's happened to enforcement from your end?
I can't.
It's not his responsibility, so it's yours.
Absolutely. He's able to tow. So if somebody's blocking our shared driveway, he's able to tow it.
We do have the same tow company, and we try our best, but like Eric said, although we work together for what's best for both of us, we're not there all the time, and people block it, and it creates a problem. There is nobody there to help them. That's the issue. When it gets to our attention, we will address it.
And we have
But we're
signage
not there
up.
all the time.
We have signage up. The problem is people are selfish, and they just want to do what they want to do.
I don't see any signs of approval now. What's it say?
It says no parking.
We have it in front of our garage, sir.
In the back?
As they enter, they can see them in front of them.
It sounds like you as a property owner need to be walking by that property more frequently, and the minute that you see a violation, just have the vehicle towed.
So
I
this
think
is
people
their
will
house
learn
right here.
soon enough
This is his house.
that,
I think it's unreasonable to say that I need to be there 24/7. I mean, that's,
Okay.
again, I think people need to not be selfish and park their cars there and read the signs appropriately.
okay, this is what I'd like you to do.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes?
I thought on the 27th, when we heard this, we had asked ISD to look into this.
That is exactly what I was going to suggest, is that ISD take a walk out to 604, look at the 2 units that are 5 bedrooms, and check if there are unrelated individuals in there, and do an enforcement. I know, because that might help reduce the issue. And then the owner at 604 can do what he needs to do to ensure that his tenants comply with what's required. I mean, because this is going to be something that you as a property owner have the responsibility for. Granted, people are selfish, but a property owner does have a responsibility. So let's just back right now. So we're going to have somebody from ISD enforcement look at 604, specifically at those 2 units and the sizes of the other 2. And then let's get back now to the issue of this proposal for the additional driveway at 606. May I have a motion, please? Yes. Is anybody here to speak in support of this?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Warren O'Reilly, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We had an abutters meeting where the local abutters came in and spoke in support, so our office, because of that, is in support.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Daniel Polanco, on behalf of Councilor Mark Siomo, also like to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Tony Disidoro representing the Alston Civic Association. We still believe that it is a reasonable and appropriate solution to a very difficult problem, and certainly the board has recognized it as such. But it certainly is a quality of life issue, and when nobody's around and the cars are blocking that driveway, there are people in Nick's house that have to get to work, and it's a very difficult situation for them to resolve. So we still continue to support it as a reasonable and appropriate solution. Thank you.
Okay, here, this is a question about equity and access to his own personal driveway. May I have a motion, please?
I'm going to make a motion to deny the request.
May I have a second?
I say.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed. I'm opposed also.
Opposed.
Okay, so the driveway has been approved by your motion. Okay. Okay, so the driveway has been approved. However, ISD will go out and check on the property at 604. Okay?
Calling the next two cases, calling BOA 784-513, 1 Elm Street, companion case BOA 784-5283 Elm Street. For 1 Elm, this is erect a new 6-unit residential building, one of 2 buildings to be erected on the same lot in the shared driveway. The violations, Article 65, Section 8, the multifamily dwelling is forbidden. Article 65, Section 42.13, 2 or more dwellings on the same lot. Article 65, Section 9, the height is excessive. Article 65, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 65, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. This is for 3 Elm. This is to erect a new 6 residential building, one of 2 to be erected on the same lot, combine 2 lots. They are the same violations, with one exception. The front yard, Article 65, Section 9, front yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Francis Adams. I'm an attorney at the Law Office of Adams and Moranci. Business address at 350 West Broadway, South Boston, Mass. 02127.
So tell us what you propose.
Sure, Madam Chair, if the board recalls, this project was in front of the board back in February, and it was requested that we have a deferral. I think the month was February. I may be incorrect about that. The original plans that showed the project being a 12-unit project. I'd like to point out now that it is actually a 9-unit project. There was some neighborhood feedback and some input with working with the mayor's office and the Clam Point Civic Association. My client made considerable amount of concessions regarding the project, which was to reduce the size from 12 to 9 units. He also removed the rear decks. He removed the roof deck.
Hold on,
Yes.
Counselor. Let's just back up because, you know, people can propose whatever they want, but let's look at the zoning.
Sure.
And see what the violations are.
Sure.
And if you can speak to what's required.
Yep.
And what's now, what's being proposed.
Sure.
Okay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The zoning district is a 1F 7,000. The cited violations are a use violation for a multifamily dwelling and 2 buildings on a single lot. There's a height violation, but it's only due to the number of stories. It's a 2.5-story district. The actual height is of the both buildings is 34 feet 6 inches. So it is actually a height violation mainly due to the number of stories, not the actual height of the building. The FAR is 0.4, and this project has a total FAR of 0.77. And those are the only violations. The front yard setback violation has been removed. Both properties are now 15 feet from the front yard, so that violation has been removed from the building due to the design change. Parking, sure. There is 18 parking spaces to the rear of the property. It's a 9-unit property, as we said. There's 2 buildings. One building will contain 5 units, and the other building will contain 4 units. There was a request that some of the units be enlarged to account for families in the neighborhood. For a breakdown of the unit sizes, on the 1 Elm Street property, there are 4 2-bedroom units and 1 4-bedroom unit. And on the 3 Elm Street property, there are 4 3-bedroom townhouse-style bi-level units. The average square foot on the Elm Street is between 1244 and 1280 on the 2-bedroom sizes. The 4-bedroom unit is 2,300 square feet. And on the 3 Elm Street bi-level 3-bedroom units range from 1,736 square feet approximately to 1,926 square feet.
Okay, and is there anything proposed for the roof?
No, there wasn't originally a roof deck. The deck has been removed. And I would like to let the board know we did meet last night with the Clam Point Civic Association. We presented the revised plans. There was a vote of support from the neighborhood association as well. Just want to put that in the record. And also, we've submitted over 25 letters of support for the board for its consideration on the vote as well.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, on behalf of Pat Fandel, we'd like to go on record in support. As the applicant mentioned, they did meet with the Civic Association just last night, and they did vote to support it at that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor Frank Baker's office would like to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of City Councilor at Large Michael Flaherty, Councilor go on record in support.
Thank you. Is Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval with continued BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You have a good coach.
Thank you.
For the last case of 1130, BOA 741-372, 174 Fisher Avenue. This is demolish an existing single-family, erect a 2-unit townhouse of 3 stories and basement. The violation, Article 59, Section 7. 2-family semi-attached dwelling unit is a forbidden use. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Drago with Drago and Toscano, attorney for the applicant with an address of 15 Broad Street. I have the applicant Demetrios here, and also David O'Sullivan is the architect on the project. As was mentioned, we are seeking zoning relief for one violation, which is use. We have a sort of a unique situation in this particular district, as was mentioned before. This particular use, so for a 2-family, is a forbidden use, but 3 units or multifamily or townhouse is allowable under the code. Our particular project, just to refresh everyone's memory, is to take down the existing single-family home and erect a 3-story building with 2 townhouse condominium units. The particular lot size is 3,467 square feet, and the topography and the shape of the lot, as you can see, are somewhat unique in the layout of that. These particular unit sizes would be 1,478 square feet. They are all 3-bed, 2.5 bath with identical layouts. At our last hearing, there were a number of recommendations for project modifications by both the board that we had heard, one of which was lowering the ceiling height in the basement, so that is now 6'8" on the new plans that are shown. Secondly, on the 3rd floor has been redesigned, so there's a staircase that leads directly into a family room, so that, you know, there was concern, I think, that maybe later on could be used as a bedroom from the community. There's now a staircase that goes directly into that. We also filed for the Article 85 hearing. I know they're somewhat backlogged, but we submitted the whole package to them. We've got 15 letters of abutter support, and we also, just to reiterate, we committed to putting a restriction in the condo docs, that these would not be rental. These are homeowner to be sold.
So let's backtrack.
Sure.
Demo delay, tell us what's happened on that. You filed for demo delay, but you had not heard back?
We have not heard yet. They said they're somewhat backlogged, but we submitted all of our applications. We don't have a hearing yet.
Okay. And, and the parking is?
We have 2 parking spots, which meets the requirement.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal? Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Giselle Gurr with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. At this time, we would like to go on record in opposition. While we understand that there have been significant changes and improvements made to this property, the concerns of the neighbors are still unmet. I know that they've changed the height of the ceiling and that they've changed the format of the 3rd floor, but still the residents feel that it's not going to change the outcome, which later down the line could technically mean renting out to students and other concerns. So with that, we would like to echo the residents and say that we're in opposition.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Shannon Murphy from City Councilor Matt O'Malley's office. The council would like to go on record in opposition of this project due to lack of work and with neighbors.
Michael McLeish from the representative of Jeffrey Sanchez's office. We would like to go on record and oppose this project.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan. We have City Councilor Elijah Michael Flaherty, echoing the sentiments of Councilor O'Malley's office. Council to go on record in opposition.
Allison Poltonis, resident, 81 Lawn Street. 2 issues that maybe have not come up before, but the east facade has no windows, and being located on the crest of a hill, that's a real deficit. For market rate condos, you would actually want views looking east. And the west facade, I believe, only has 2 small windows, none on the 1st floor. The concern expressed at the last hearing was that some of the rooms, not designated bedrooms, could be converted to bedrooms, and changing the basement to 6 feet 8 does not change that concern. As you heard at the earlier St. James Place request, this easily, a 6 foot 8 basement ceiling the room could still be converted to a bedroom. So I'm expressing concerns both with the design and with the overall concept that we want owner-occupied restrictions in the sale. Thank you.
Madam Chair and members of the board, I am Christine Curtis. I live down the street at 143 Fisher Avenue. I did speak at the last hearing. Nothing has really changed for my opposition. This is a project that has overwhelming opposition from the neighborhood, from abutters in the larger community, from elected officials, and I was happy to hear that that also now includes the mayor's office. A big issue that is still there is the deed restriction, which the developers claim would make it unsaleable. Other developers have done this at our request. There is no reason he can't. Anything that's just in the condo documents can be changed easily by the owners. So I just want to emphasize that I am still opposed to it, as are most of my neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. May it please the board. Cameron Merrill from Merrill and McGeary. We represent the Back of the Hill Townhouses condominium. It's a condominium which is 165 units which surround this single-family home in a U-shape. The condominium trust asked me to come to this board and speak in opposition for the same reasons expressed at the last meeting, as well as in the letter that I sent the board in January, which I'd like to make part of today's record, please. The opposition essentially stems from the fact that this is a cherished single-family home within this community. The board feels like a demolition of this project and the development as is proposed will have a significant impact. Reasonable use of the property has been as a single-family home, and the trustees do not believe that a variance is appropriate given that circumstance. They also like to express their gratitude for the architect before you in counsel's office who did speak with us and communicate diligently. However, despite that effort, they are not satisfied with the plans and would like to share in the opposition as the representatives which are here before you, notwithstanding the efforts of counsel and the architect before you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Counselor?
Yes, thank you. Just a point to note, as I had mentioned, so we have looked at an as-of-right proposal on this site, and we believe we can get 3 townhouse units. They'd be smaller, so probably not marketable to sell, with parking at grade as an as-of-right proposal. We felt that 2 townhouses of this size, having made the concessions, is much better in the long run for the community. We did commit to the condo doc restriction. However, it seems to be the one point that's come up as a deed restriction. With only 2 townhouses available, if we had a larger development, we could be more restrictive like that. But to just 2, financing could be affected. So that's the one thing we just couldn't agree to.
59.7, what was the violation?
It was just the use. So so it was only 2-family semi-attached dwelling is forbidden in a row house district. However, you know, multi-family dwellings, townhouses are all allowable under the code.
Okay, given that information from residents and from the council, give us, may I have a motion, please?
I'm going to make a motion to deny.
Second. Without prejudice?
Without prejudice.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Board of Appeal meeting is now adjourned.